All right, and we are live. Love and abundance, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the What's Your Story show. This is your host, Dr. Varun and Gandhi. At the very beginning of every show, I do this water ritual, and I'm going to do that again with everyone. So, whoever's listening right now, whoever's watching this, let's take a sip of water, pick up your bottles, and let's dig into this because in most of my conversations, I've realized that we're not drinking enough water. So, cheers to water. Let's do it. All right. So, talking about water, that's what today's topic is going to be as well. Uh, Many of you may not know, I have a background in clean water. I have a PhD in environmental engineering, and specifically, I was focused in water disinfection and how to provide clean water into the houses. And my PhD was focused on one particular technology within water treatment, but that was my specialty. And it was an eye-opening experience for me going through my PhD. I learned a lot, right? My whole idea was I have certain skills that I want to apply, want to improve the world. And the way I did it was through this PhD and gaining all of this knowledge. I used a PhD as a consultant for a couple of years, but eventually I want to go back, and I've moved out of that career. Eventually, I want to go back into that career in the sense of helping countries that need water, providing them solutions, sustainable solutions, not something that requires a lot of energy, which is what the research that I was doing, that system required a lot more energy. So it's finding ways to clean water, because these are the statistics, right? 1 in 9 people, that's 780 million people, do not have access to clean water. Different, I've seen different numbers, but somewhere between 600 to 780 million people. Not having clean water leads to disease. It leads to diarrhea, and a lot of the times it causes death, right? Because there are not enough treatment available for these diseases as well. In 2019, 1.23 million people died from unsafe drinking water. And looking at the list of annual deaths, in the order by various risk factors, number one being high blood pressure, number two being smoking, unsafe drinking water was number 13, lucky number 13 on that list. So this is at the very top, and this is a very important topic that we're discussing. So then I looked at the flip side. Like, okay, what if people have clean water? The other people don't have, they lack access to it. What happens when they do? What does that world look like? So certain answers that I could come up with is, right now, a lot of women and girls are taking a lot of time and effort into collecting water, right? So first thing is that they're going to have more time on their hands. They're going to have a lot of energy where they could focus on something productive. Maybe that is, maybe that's in the farm, maybe that's creating something, maybe that's an entrepreneurship. Little girls, they could focus on education, with their time. Having more water means healthier soil, that also means healthy food. So now people are becoming healthier in their diets. Potentially, that also means more food. And crossing fingers, that could also mean less hungry people, or on the flip side, more greedy people. I don't know. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Today's guest is Nikita Chatterjee from Paani Solutions, and she has a very fascinating story. So I'm going to first welcome her.
I love the applause.
Yeah, welcome, Nikita. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You have a fascinating story. You recently graduated from Syracuse, and that's where you started this organization called Paani. So I want to first just dive into it and ask you, like, what's the story behind it? How did it get started? I'd love for you to share stories, things that you saw that really wanted to you really wanted to make some movement in this direction.
Yeah, so it's actually a funny story because I never intended to be an entrepreneur. I came to school, I was a pre-med student, I wanted to be a pediatrician. I was very involved in the health community. That was something that was really important to me. And I was on track to go to medical school. That's something that I was very passionate about. And then my junior year, I had taken a trip to India and I was visiting family. And, after 2 years of education at this point, I was kind of hyper aware to a lot of public health issues. I was paying a lot of attention to my surroundings. And I was trying to just observe what life outside of the United States was actually like. For the first time in my life, I've been to India 1,000 times. But I was, younger. I was there for fun, like I never really paid attention to what was going on. So I had gotten up early one morning and my grandma, she was like filtering, like boiling the water, like gallons and gallons of water in the morning. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, why can't we, like, we have a working sink in the house. Like, what's wrong? She's like, no, like, you can't drink that water. And I was like, okay, like, that's interesting. Like, why not? And so I started asking a lot of questions. We had been driving through the Dharavi area of Mumbai, and I had seen just a lot of open water sources. I had seen people like walking to like local rivers or lakes or places where there was a lot of water available, but it wasn't necessarily being filtered to drink. Um, and so I took that concept back with me to school, and I really thought about how I could figure out a solution for that without kind of invading their lifestyle. So when designing the filter, after I had come up with the idea and I had decided I wanted to focus on clean water, I wanted to make sure it was something that was already in their routine, right? You collect water, you either boil it or you use some sort of cloth to pour the water through into a different bucket. And it's the first step of filtration in whatever way you're using. And I wanted to enhance that process. So incorporating the Sari cloth, keeping it sustainable, keeping it adaptable to the lifestyle was really my goal. Um, and we did great. And we really, got on our feet. And I'm really excited for what we have in store.
So, what are the water that they were drinking that wasn't clean? What were the common like pollutants inside of it? What were you trying to clean out of it?
So the most noticeable things was just large sediments, right? Dirt, um, things that may have fallen into the water, things that you could clearly see with your eyes.
Okay.
And a lot of that had been filtered out, whether it was through boiling or filtering it through a cloth. But things that you couldn't see were a lot of like bacteria that causes, indigestion and diarrhea. You have the sanitation issue in India. All of that is now being going through the sewer system and being drained into these ponds and lakes and rivers, and people are drinking that, and who knows what's in that. There was a lot of cholera, things like that that causes different diseases, I guess is what we're trying to target. We're definitely targeting cholera, um, typhoid, things like that.
Okay. In your bio that you had sent me, one of the lines in there, I really loved it. You said, your passion is to improve the lives of women and children throughout underserved communities in South
Mhm.
Asia. How did that passion come about? Because for me personally, my journey took me roughly 30 plus years of figuring out what my
Mhm.
passion purpose lies and, kind
Mhm.
of like understanding all of that. So, how did you come about that?
I mean, I am the oldest girl in my family, so naturally, my both of my parents are immigrants. So gender roles were a thing in my life growing up. And when I had gone to India, I had come to the realization that they were dropping out of school to like have all these household responsibilities. And I was like, you know what? Girls deserve the same education as boys, like that is something that I'm not okay with. That's a very present in India still. And so I want to find a solution to give their time back, like you said, give their energy back, give them something to strive for outside of, taking care of their family.
Okay, that's great. Like I think that's gonna free up a lot of time for the women because I mean, what they're taking like 3-4 hours per day just to collect water, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. They're walking miles and all of that effort just to end up still being sick. Like imagine how draining that must feel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You mentioned something about behavioral challenges that you had.
Mhm.
What were those that you had to overcome?
Um, I mean, in the design process, I didn't want to bring a first world solution into a rural area of India, right? Like a lot of people were like, "Oh, like there's the Brita or there's the Life Straw, like those are water filters. Like why can't you introduce that into the community?"
Mm-hmm.
And like thinking about rural India, like first of all, they're probably poor. That's too expensive for their lifestyle. Not something that's sustainable for them. Second, they probably don't know how to use the technology. Like,
Right.
if
Right.
girls are dropping out of school at 8 years old, their level of education isn't too advanced. So I wanted to give them something that they were already used to doing,
Yeah.
something that was going to be the same every single time, something that has been generational. And so I wanted to bring a solution that was altered to their behavioral tendencies that already existed.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a key point because the technology that I worked on was UV disinfection. So that requires a UV light, a lamp
Right.
source, electricity, like a lot of electricity too.
Hmm.
And then cleaning it, maintenance, you break the tube, where you're going to get the next one. I mean, there's so many issues. And then the tube may
Right.
be poisonous too, like it has mercury in there. So many things with it, right?
Hmm.
So that's a key point that you have there, that it's something very simple that they already use in the daily life.
Hmm.
And now in terms of maintenance, they can easily, switch out what they need to do because it's what, like changing the cloths. Is that what the maintenance would be to clean it out?
Right now there is maybe like pockets of disinfectants that would have to be replaced after a certain amount of time.
Okay.
So I think after our first round of filters, they would have to replace the whole thing just as we're iterating and perfecting the filter. But the goal is to have it be pockets that are replaceable and very affordable, if not free, to the communities, and then to build a permanent water source, something that's very accessible to them.
Right. So where are you right now along your journey?
We're very close to launching our first set of filters. Yeah, very exciting. It's been a long time coming. COVID really hit us hard, but we've been in the lab. We've been really working on perfecting our measurements and ensuring that it's safe for ingestion and, making sure our timeline is right in terms of when the disinfectants are no longer helpful, and making sure that they don't turn harmful. And so once we have the patent filed, I think we're going to be ready to go, hopefully by the end of the year.
Wow, fantastic. Um, People are going to be inspired. Like you are just graduated, and now you've created this in the last couple of years. Actually, before I get to this question, you mentioned something about the competition in
Hmm.
Syracuse. So, how did Paani Solutions come about, and what was that competition about?
So at Syracuse, there is this thing called the Blackstone Launchpad. And it's basically a hub for a lot of the entrepreneurs across campus. So from the business school, like no matter what your major is, you can come to this Launchpad and there are mentors, there are other entrepreneurs, people who can really help you get your idea started, get proof of concept, things like that.
Hmm.
So I brought my idea to the executive director there, and she instantly was very supportive. She got us into an invention competition that we ended up winning, where we prototyped the filter in 6 weeks. It was just me and my co-founder at the time. And it was really exciting. So once we had like a prototype, we started applying to a lot of business plan competitions across campus that were funded by local businesses or alumni looking to support entrepreneurs. And if I could toot my own horn, we really swept through all of them. I think social entrepreneurship was really on the come up at the time, and people really believed in our idea. And when they saw the filter and saw, even the smallest difference, they were like, this can have a great impact. And so we won a lot of things, and the money really helped us get on our feet.
Wow. Okay, hold up. I'm gonna play an applause.
Thank you.
Celebrating it, celebrating it. Oh, that's amazing. And
Mhm.
so you said that you've had a lot of support. And have you had a chance to raise funds? Like, have you had a need to raise funds? And how has that journey been for you?
It's definitely been a lot harder than I anticipated. I think the business plan competitions got us a good amount of money to establish a lab and kind of get the patent process started. And then COVID hit, and that hit us really hard because we were looking to launch. We kind of lost a lot of momentum. People couldn't, go into the office or really travel. So a lot of things came to a halt. But we were able to fundraise to work with a local not for profit that works with tribal women in India, and we created thousands of masks. So they were handmade by the women. The women were fully paid, all through this fundraiser, which taught us a lot of things. Crowdfunding is the next step after, just being given money through competitions. So that was a really exciting time for us. And now we're stepping kind of into the private investor space.
Okay. All right. Wow. So you're gonna have to like go to pitch again, pitching out to different and private
Yeah.
investors.
Yeah, we're getting ready to pitch. And that's exciting. I haven't pitched in a long time. So I'm excited to upgrade our story and communicate our message really strongly.
Yeah. So through sharing your story, people are going to be inspired. They wanna, they're going to want to take some action, maybe helping your project out, or maybe doing something else for the community.
Mhm.
So as you've gone through your journey, what steps have you taken, and what steps can you share for people to go about, creating a social entrepreneurship?
I think some of the lessons that I've learned is that you really have to be passionate about the cause, right? It becomes hours of focus a day. Like that's something that you really want to have an impact on. You have to make sure that all of the people on your team are also aligned with that mission. And so that, progression can be made. I think that, you should definitely go for it, take the leap of faith. Like everything is hard at first. But once you iterate a couple of times, you kind of learn, like you have to fail in order to progress and to take the next step and get your product or service or whatever to a better place. And as someone who is a perfectionist, failing was really really hard for me. Like I don't take rejection well. I don't take things going wrong well. And so it slowed us down. And I wish that I was able to take it and get back up on my feet really quickly. But I learned my lesson. So I think mentorship is also really important. I've had a lot of people in my life give me great advice, and like I've never run a business before, so having business minded people or people with business experience to kind of show you the way has something that is invaluable to me.
Wow. What you said mentors have helped you. Have you gone out to seek for mentors, or have they kind of just come to you, or how does that work for you?
I've definitely had a little bit of both. So, the executive director of the Launchpad, her name is Linda. She has been our biggest supporter from day one. She has supported us. She's introduced us to a lot of different people in a lot of different fields that have helped us grow. And I cannot thank her enough for that. But like mutual connections is a great way to get mentorship. I've researched women that I look up to or women in the field that I want to be in. And I've, had a conversation with them. Like I'm in the beginning steps of where you were. Like, can you show me the way? Like, can you tell me the lessons that you learned? How can I be better for my company? So a little bit of everything.
Uh, you mentioned failure, right? How did you learn that? failure is okay? Like, what was that thing that taught you it, or like what finally said, okay, it's fine, failure is okay, and I just need to learn from it?
Yeah, I remember it was actually one of the last competitions in our, business competition spree. And we were on a winning streak, and then we had come in second place, and I took it really hard. We like got a lesser amount of money, and I was like, this isn't fair, like, whatever. And I had stormed out of the room. Like, I was very visibly upset. And a couple of days later, someone that was in the room was like, hey, like, you shouldn't have done that, because someone was willing to mentor you, or someone was willing to give you a couple $1,000s to, just support you out of generosity. But because you stormed out of the room and you showed that you were very emotional about it, like, you lost out on that opportunity. And I kind of had to step back, and I was like, damn, like, we could have used that for something really important, and my emotions got the best of me. But I think it's really important to have a safe space to fail. And I think the Launchpad gave me that. I was surrounded by entrepreneurs. When things didn't go right, people would be like, it's not only you. Like, we're all failing. We're all struggling. We're in this together. And that's something that I appreciate.
Yeah, that's really well said. We're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
We're in some ways we're all failing, and it's okay. We're all learning from that as well.
Yeah.
What's the next biggest challenge in your path right now? I mean, you're getting ready to launch, and what's after that for you?
I think that's not. So I'm based in New York, and we are operating in India. I think that is my next biggest challenge. How can either I be more present there, or how can I have someone in operations who can be, very available to communicate to me on US time, and also very available to be on site and working with the people that we have in India. So just balancing that, time difference, the distance, all of that is going to be a handful, especially when we have filters out.
Yeah. What are you looking at mainly in Mumbai? Is that where you're going to be implementing these filters?
That's where we're starting. Of course, I would like to believe we can expand, but Mumbai is definitely where we're starting out.
Okay. I just want, if anyone's listening in from Mumbai, and if you know someone, or if you personally want to get involved in this project, feel free to reach out to Nikita.
Please.
Let them know, where can they reach out?
You can reach me best by email. It's my first name, Nikita, at paanisolutions.com. And you can get that on our website.
All right. So I have the website right here. That's the website for you guys. So paanisolutions.com. You can reach out to her through that. She has a fascinating story about wanting to clean water, and it's extremely important to be drinking clean water, to be drinking enough water as well. I'm going to ask you one more last question. This is going to be a fun one. So I kind of do this. I have this running list of 100 questions, and I ask my guests to pick a number between 1 and 100, and I'll ask you that fun question. Okay. So pick any number from 1 to 100.
I'm going to pick 13.
13. What are those things you're too old to do, but you still enjoy?
Oh my gosh. I'm too old to do, but I still enjoy it. That's actually kind of a hard question. I'm definitely still the type of person to binge watch a TV show and get 0 hours of sleep while stuffing my face with candy and all the junk food in the whole entire world.
What's the latest one that you watched? The show?
The latest one that I watched, I just finished watching Inventing Anna. It's on Netflix. It's actually a true story. Very interesting. But I'm getting ready to watch Bridgerton, which is going to drop tomorrow and is now starring a female Indian actress as the lead. So that's exciting.
There's one for the South Asians. Yep.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I heard about Bridgerton. I haven't watched it personally, Maybe my wife will maybe watch it. I don't know. She talked about it, but I'm like, when I watch TV with her, I'm like, I can't. I'm not doing that.
It's good. You got to watch at least this season.
This one, yeah, it's to support her definitely.
Yeah.
Any last words? Any last things that you want to say about Paani Solutions? Where people can help you? Anything else that you want to share?
I think we had a lot of topics. I definitely appreciate your support and any support that anyone, was willing to give us. Definitely reach out to me via email. Go on our website. I think we're doing a great thing, and we're gonna have a lot of impact in a lot of places around the world. So yeah, I'm excited. I want everyone else to be excited, and I'm ready to go.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's going to make a big impact, and you're going to be launching this year. 2022 is going to be a great year, and then 2023 is going to be even bigger year with the implementation and seeing the results of your hard work. Thank you, Nikita. It was so much a pleasure in interviewing you. Thank you for sharing your story. I really wish you the best of luck in the implementation phase and the patenting phase and moving forward. And I will definitely reach out to you again and, wanting to share your story again once you're, impacting millions of people around the world.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate it.
For sure, Nikita. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, the guests, for listening in. Love and abundance, everybody. And again, remember, drink your water. We all need clean water, but drink it. Thank you.